All right, so there's been a lot of talk with Shedeur Sanders and where is he going to go? I think some people view him as a potential top 10 pick. Some people say that he shouldn't even be a first rounder. And while there is one team that seems to be getting the most buzz, hey, sometimes that does not work out that way. So I figured it'd be a fun video to come up with 7 teams that could potentially draft Shedeur Sanders. I'll be honest, a couple of these I kind of have to make work. There's 5 teams I could legitimately see as a possibility. So yeah, let's just get into the list. Number 7 for the Dolphins. This is definitely one I have to kind of, make potentially put a square peg into a round hole a bit, because I think the Dolphins like Tua. I don't think they want to move off of him. The only reason you would do something like this is I could see a Jalen Hurts situation where, if you remember, when Jalen Hurts was drafted in the second round by the Eagles, that offseason, it was just a month ago, that they had paid Carson Wentz and made him the highest paid quarterback in football. They did not draft Jalen Hurts to be a starter or to contend with Carson Wentz. They drafted him because Wentz kept getting hurt in the playoffs and they wanted a contingency plan. To me, that is the logic here. If it's the second round and Shedeur Sanders is available, maybe they just say, you know what? Let's just get a good backup. If we need him to start and win us a Super Bowl later, okay, cool, like what happened with Hurts. But ultimately, let's just do that, which also be funny because, Hurts and Tua, that connection as well. But that's my logic there. Number 6 for the Colts. I do think that, people are kind of just talking about them as a team that doesn't need a quarterback. I don't know. I mean, Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones isn't exactly striking fear into the hearts of opposing defenses, in my opinion. Also, they don't really have a great third quarterback on the option on the board right now. Sorry if you're a big Jason Bean fan, but ultimately, I think the Colts could look at this. Again, are they going to do it with the 14th overall pick? I don't know. I wouldn't rule it out necessarily. I don't know. I think probably similar to the Dolphins. This might be if it's a round 2 situation. He's just falling. Maybe they're just the one who snags him. Number 5 is the Rams. So this is a team that I think there is a world where they draft him in the first round. I do think that is possible. They're the first team I would say. I could really envision a scenario like that. I think the idea is, hey, the Stafford thing was weird. There was the whole contract stuff. We don't know how many years we have with Stafford. They don't need a backup. They have Jimmy G. But, getting Shedeur Sanders and letting him sit for a couple years, letting him learn behind Stafford, which would be a weird guy to learn behind. Are you learning no-look passes and stuff like that? I don't know. But honestly, I think Stafford would be a great guy to learn behind because he knows all the little intricate details, the things that work at the NFL level. Sanders can pick up some of that stuff, which could be fun. That would be the logic there with Sanders. Number 4 is the New York Jets, who, I think would most likely be taking him in the first round. If they are taking him, they have Justin Fields, they have Tyrod Taylor. But if you like Shedeur Sanders, this would be the move, right? To just take him at pick 7. You probably will have a shot at him. I think you'll have a shot at him. So I think there is some likelihood here. Again, I think that with the new regime, I don't think they necessarily want to draft a quarterback and have a savior come in. I think they want to just kind of build a winning culture, or at least build a culture, right, as of right now. And I think if you rely too much on a young quarterback, that can make that more difficult. But ultimately, at the same time, if they just like Shedeur Sanders and think he's worth a 7th overall pick, maybe they just do that and kind of surprise us. I feel like we're talking about the Jets as if there's no need for a quarterback. They could use a quarterback upgrade for sure. We're staying in New York with my next pick, the Giants, who do not need a quarterback. They have Russell Wilson, they have Jameis Winston, they have Tommy DeVito, so they have a complete room, right? But ultimately, again, if you have to put Tommy DeVito on the practice squad or let him walk to get a quarterback prospect you like, then do it. Shedeur Sanders, again, is he worth the 3rd overall pick? It depends on who you ask. For me, I would say no. But the reason why I would still say that they have a good chance, why them and number 2 have a good chance, is because you could get him early in the second round as well. If people don't like him and he falls to the second round, well, then maybe you get him there as well. So 2 shots. I think there's a possibility. Number 2 is the Cleveland Browns, who, again, I just don't know if with the 2nd overall pick, are they really going to be spending it on Shedeur Sanders? I think that there's so many holes on this roster. I think they'd rather just have a blue chip player with either Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter, and we'll see which one they end up selecting there. That being said, I still think that, again, some people do view Sanders as a blue chip quarterback. If the Browns are one of those teams, maybe they decide to just do it. Also, again, they have the first pick of the second round. So they could just go that way. They could just say, you know what, let's just take take the best quarterback, or the best quarterback that we'll get in that spot. We then don't have to spend a premium pick on a quarterback, but still go into the next season with an option. This is, of course, predicated on my number one team not actually being as into Shedeur Sanders as people think that they are. And that team is the team that is the New Orleans Saints, the team that we're all speculating probably will take him with the 9th overall selection. They are the one team that I think probably will just use their first round pick to take him. I don't think it's a guarantee. I definitely do not think it's a guarantee. I think there is a world where they're not as crazy about him and they say, you know what, let's just get Tyler Warren, get a good player, and go that way. I totally think that's on the board. But I do kind of buy into the idea that they do like him. They haven't drafted a quarterback in decades in the first round, so maybe just spending that pick on him wouldn't be the worst idea in the world. Ultimately, you have the Derek Carr contract, which is something you have to pay attention to. I mean, he is under contract for the next 2 years. His cap hit in 2 years will be $70 million, and you can't get rid of him because he's hurt right now, so you can't put it all on this first year. And even if you did put it all on this first year, you'd have to kick the can down the road anyway, so might as well keep him for both years, just given the cap situation that they find themselves in. Ultimately, that being said, a great way to get out of that situation is to get a good, cheap quarterback, and Shedeur Sanders can be that. Again, I think they like Carr enough that this is not a lock to me, so that's why I feel like the other moves are still very much on the table. I also do feel like if he's in this situation, I think he could play well. Like, I don't think that Shedeur Sanders is... It's weird where, I think there's good qualities, and I think there is bad qualities of him, but there definitely are good qualities of him. Like, ultimately, would I spend the number 9 overall pick on him? In this draft class, it's not the craziest thing in the world. It is worth mentioning they do kind of have a full quarterback room with Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener in the mix as well. But again, if you have to cut Jake Haener to make this move work for the quarterback position, you'll do that. That's not anything. That's something they could consider. So ultimately, yes, I do think Shedeur Sanders has the highest likelihood of getting drafted by the Saints. I do think the Browns and Giants would really strongly consider it if he falls to round 2. I think the Jets will consider him in rounds 1 and 2. The Rams would consider him if he falls there. And then I do think that the Colts and Dolphins might consider him if he falls to round 2, is kind of how I'm viewing it. Maybe the Colts in round 1. But yeah, those are ultimately my thoughts on all of this. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching. Hey, thanks for watching to the end of that video. I do appreciate it. If you want to see my other channel, Jackson Kruger Movies, where I talk about movies, give some film reviews and stuff like that of a different kind, if that seems like your kind of thing, the link is in the description below for that, as is the link for my Twitter account. I'm at Jackson Kruger, so give me a follow on there if that's your kind of thing. And also, of course, remember to hit the subscribe button on this channel. I do always appreciate it, and thanks again for watching to the end of the video.